Jennifer Garner didn't just kiss her boyfriend, she sent a message loud enough to drown out every headline linking her back to Ben Affleck. The kiss wasn't tucked away in a dark corner or hidden behind tinted windows. It happened in broad daylight, on a Los Angeles street where paparazzi don't just linger, they hunt. She was with John Miller, the low-key tech CEO who spent most of their relationship outside the spotlight. And this time, they weren't shy. Their embrace was long, deliberate, and emotional. Garner leaned in, wrapped her arms around him, and kissed him like the cameras weren't even there.
Jen keeps it casual in leggings and a flannel jacket, with her man rocking a button-up and jeans. It's a rare sighting of the very private couple who have been together since 2018.
TMZ got the photos. High-res, wide open, no blurred faces, no denials needed. This wasn't a playful peck or a quick goodbye. Witnesses described it as a makeout session. They weren't checking their surroundings, they weren't rushing off. It looked like two people completely comfortable, completely certain, and completely done hiding. It was raw, real, and timed perfectly to crush the Affleck rumors that had been simmering online for weeks. Just days earlier, Garner and Ben had been photographed hugging outside her home. That moment set off alarms across social media. Fans started stitching together old interviews, past sightings, and blurry footage, trying to prove a rekindled flame. But then, boom, the kiss happened. And suddenly, the narrative collapsed. Every camera angle captured the same thing. Jennifer was smiling, at ease.
A source told E! News back in 2020 that John is a nice, normal guy who is in a similar situation with raising kids while being divorced.
John held her waist like he belonged there, like he wasn't just some placeholder while the world waited to see if Ben would come back around. He wasn't her secret anymore. He was her statement. And that single public display flipped the entire conversation. Headlines turned, comments exploded. No more what-ifs. This was a woman who'd already made her choice, and she was done playing it quiet. What made it even more intense was where it happened. Not at some swanky premiere or behind a gated estate. It was in a public parking lot, outside a building in Brentwood, where anyone with a phone could become a reporter. And they did. The photos hit the internet within hours, and TMZ confirmed what the images were already screaming. Garner is very much not getting back with Ben Affleck. No reps were called. No statements were released. She didn't need to say a word. The kiss said everything. But just when the dust started to settle, something unexpected shifted behind the scenes. In the days following the kiss, John Miller, usually invisible to the press, was seen more than ever before. He wasn't hiding, he wasn't ducking cameras. He stepped out alone, cool and confident, like a man who had finally been pulled into the spotlight.
I like my life.
That's Jen Garner and boyfriend John Miller leaving a sushi date in Los Angeles earlier this week.
And didn't mind it. For someone who once refused to even walk red carpets, John now looked every bit like Jennifer Garner's equal, not her accessory. And people noticed. Less than 48 hours after the kiss photos hit the internet, the Daily Mail published new shots of John leaving a business meeting in downtown LA. Sharp suit, no ring, no hesitation. That wasn't just coincidence, it was part of a pattern. Garner wasn't just unveiling a relationship, she was shifting the image. No longer the polished, soft-spoken mom of three lingering quietly in Hollywood's shadows. No longer the woman left picking up the pieces after Ben's breakdowns, rehab stints, and tabloid storms. She was building something new, with someone stable, private, grounded, and now, seen. That's when the internet turned on Ben. Comments flooded social media threads, comparing John to Affleck, not just in style, but in presence.
And now a source close to Jen tells ET that things are getting serious between the two and they couldn't be happier.
John doesn't bring chaos, one user wrote under the TMZ post. Another said, he's the man Ben wishes he could be. Low drama, high loyalty. And the numbers didn't lie. The engagement on Garner's post skyrocketed. Her name trended for 2 days straight. Not for a scandal, not for a breakdown, but because she looked genuinely happy, and everyone could feel it. But here's where it got darker. Behind the headlines, legal records quietly revealed how far she'd come to get here. After the divorce was finalized in 2018, court filings showed Jennifer held firm boundaries with Ben when it came to custody. There were no bitter battles, but there was structure, monitored transitions, set visitation times. She made it clear, the past was done, but the kids came first, and that structure may have saved her. because just last month, Ben's name surfaced again, this time in connection to another tense moment with Jennifer Lopez. Paparazzi footage caught Lopez and Affleck in what looked like a heated argument outside their Beverly Hills home. No audio, but the body language was damning. Eyes narrowed, lips tight, hands thrown in frustration.
Isn't that exciting?
Our source says, quote, they're in a true honeymoon phase in their relationship.
It wasn't the power couple image they'd worked so hard to rebuild. And in that same week, Ben was spotted, again, at Garner's home. The internet began spiraling. Was he running back to safety? Was Jennifer caught in the middle of another storm? But then came the kiss. And the second it hit, it shut everything down. She wasn't part of Ben's chaos anymore. She wasn't waiting on apologies or stuck in his orbit. With one kiss, Jennifer Garner rewrote her story. And for the first time in years, it wasn't about what she survived. It was about what she chose. What happened next turned quiet drama into a full-blown spectacle. As the photos of Jennifer and John continued circulating online, something strange started happening. Ben Affleck disappeared. No paparazzi snaps, no public sightings, no late-night coffee runs or tense SUV drop-offs. Just silence. And that silence, it was deafening. Media outlets took notice fast. Page 6 ran a follow-up questioning Ben's sudden absence from public life. Speculation exploded. Was he avoiding the media storm? Was he rattled by the kiss? And most importantly, where was Jennifer Lopez? For a couple that once couldn't go 10 feet without cameras flashing, their sudden vanishing act sent a clear signal. Things weren't good. Then TMZ dug deeper. They confirmed Ben hadn't been spotted at his own Brentwood home in over a week.
Jennifer Garner and John Miller are going strong. The actress and businessman are hand in hand, looking happy while taking a stroll in Santa Barbara, California together.
Neighbors hadn't seen his car. Security rotations were thinner than usual. It didn't take long before fans began connecting dots. Jennifer Garner had made her move, and now Ben was spiraling again. What made the situation even messier were the court records still lingering in the background. Documents from 2023 show that Affleck voluntarily entered rehab again, his third stay in less than a decade. It had been kept quiet at the time, but the filings were real. Garner had driven him there. She signed the check-in paperwork. She left 2 hours later. No press, no public comment. She didn't owe him that grace, but she gave it anyway. So now, with the kiss in public view and Affleck off the radar, people weren't just choosing sides. They were rewriting the narrative entirely. Garner wasn't the ex-wife anymore. She wasn't the caretaker. She was a woman reclaiming space in front of the world, with a man who had never made her carry his wreckage. And John Miller? His background became the next hot topic. Headlines highlighted his quiet empire, CEO of Cali Group, a tech entrepreneur with no scandals, no viral breakdowns, no mugshots, no stints in Malibu recovery clinics. Just a man who built something of his own, far from the spotlight, and somehow won the heart of one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses without ever needing to trend. Until now. And just when it seemed like the media storm might settle, the final blow came.
But adds, while they've spoken about a future together, neither of them are ready to plan a wedding or get engaged.
Garner and Miller were spotted again, this time at a restaurant in Pacific Palisades. No disguises, no security. They sat at a corner table, sharing wine and laughing. Not forced, not awkward. It was intimacy without effort, a moment that didn't need to be performed. But outside, camera flashes fired off like gunshots. Because this wasn't just a date, it was a declaration. A slow, deliberate unraveling of every fantasy that Ben and Jen might someday find their way back to each other. That fantasy was dead, and Garner had buried it herself. The fallout came fast, and it was brutal. Within days of that quiet dinner in Pacific Palisades, tabloids shifted their attention entirely. Ben Affleck wasn't just missing from the spotlight, he was being eclipsed. For the first time in years, a story involving Jennifer Garner didn't include a sympathetic footnote about Ben's past. This wasn't about rebuilding a broken man. This was about a woman who'd finally stopped waiting. But Hollywood doesn't stay silent for long. Reports surfaced that Jennifer Lopez had flown solo to a high-profile charity gala in New York, noticeably without her wedding ring. No Affleck, no explanation. Just a cold stare on the red carpet and a polite smile that cracked under the camera flash.
It's a big deal.
Our source also says John's great with Jen's kids, adding that they've taken them to the mountains together.
It was the first public sign that something behind closed doors was unraveling, and all eyes snapped back to Garner. Because here's what the world had forgotten. Jennifer Garner was never waiting for Ben to get his act together. She had already left, already raised 3 children, already built a career, a reputation, and a private life that functioned without headlines or hand-holding. But now she wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. And her kiss with John Miller wasn't a comeback moment. It was a finish line, and it came at a cost. Behind the scenes, Affleck was unraveling. Former co-workers began speaking on background, confirming that Ben had pulled back from recent projects, postponed meetings, and turned down at least one high-profile role. Studio emails hinted at unavailability, with execs noting personal stress as a cause. And while no one would go on record, the timeline made it obvious. The kiss had hit hard. More quietly, Garner's team began making moves too. PR contacts confirmed she had approved her first magazine feature in over a year. Not a gossip spread, a profile, a full-length story to reintroduce her, not as Ben's ex or the mother of his kids, but as her own brand, her own force, a woman whose name could stand alone in headlines again. And that terrified people. Because if Jennifer Garner could move on, truly move on, what did that say about the Hollywood obsession with broken love stories? What did it say about redemption arcs tied to men who never quite cleaned up their messes? This wasn't a neat romantic ending. It was real. And sometimes real doesn't circle back. Sometimes it walks away and never looks back. By the end of the week, paparazzi had stopped waiting outside Affleck's driveway. Jennifer Lopez's team offered no comment. And John Miller, still quiet, still steady, still next to Jennifer Garner. The chaos faded. The narrative collapsed. All that remained was one undeniable truth. She didn't need a reunion. She needed peace, and she finally found it. Then came the moment that sealed it, what fans are now calling the sidewalk scene. It was a Thursday morning in Brentwood, cool and quiet, when Jennifer Garner and John Miller stepped out of a neighborhood cafe, hand in hand, coffees in tow, laughing like no one else existed. No bodyguards, no entourage, just them, dressed down in jeans and sneakers, walking down the sidewalk like any other couple on a slow California morning. But this time, the cameras weren't zooming in on just the kiss. They caught something deeper, comfort. She wasn't performing, she wasn't guarding herself. And more importantly, she wasn't checking over her shoulder. She looked unbothered, free. And when John leaned in to whisper something that made her laugh so hard she covered her face, the world finally saw the version of Jennifer Garner they hadn't seen in years. Light, unburdened, real. Photos of the moment hit the internet like wildfire. Within hours, they were splashed across front pages with headlines like, "Jen's happiest chapter yet," and "No more looking back." This wasn't just about celebrity romance anymore, it was a cultural reset. The classic Hollywood script where the woman waits patiently for the broken man to change. Jennifer Garner just rewrote it, and the ripple effect spread fast. Fan pages exploded with tributes. Video edits of Jennifer's evolution, from red carpets with Affleck to grocery runs with John, racked up millions of views. People weren't just following a love story. They were witnessing a transformation. A woman who gave years to a man who couldn't stay sober or steady, now walking beside someone who didn't need saving, just being. But while the world fell in love with this new chapter, one person stayed quiet and absent. Ben Affleck hadn't been photographed in over 2 weeks. Reports confirmed he pulled out of a charity poker event he was scheduled to host. Even J.Lo, who once weaponized the media like a seasoned pro, had gone quiet. No Instagram posts, no couple selfies, nothing. And that silence said it all. The dream of the Ben Affleck comeback had faded. It had always been fragile, stitched together with nostalgia and press junkets. But Jennifer Garner's sidewalk moment shattered it without ever saying a word. She didn't need headlines. She didn't need revenge. All she needed was peace, and the courage to live it out in plain sight. By now, even the tabloids had shifted. They weren't asking if she and Ben would reunite. They were asking if this John, the ease, the quiet moments was what love actually looked like when the cameras stopped rolling. No grand gestures, no redemption arcs, just 2 people who showed up for each other, without drama, without noise. And in that one moment on the sidewalk, Jennifer Garner didn't just walk into a new chapter, she closed the book on the past, for good.